Guys, Savage Joy here with Real Progressives. Tonight I am joined by Dakota Nelson. He is running for House in West Virginia, District 16. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Dakota.
Happy to be doing it. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So Dakota is what I call a Bernie Cat, like a legit Bernie Cat, though, one that actually supports Bernie. We talked a little bit about how you actually went state to state when you were campaigning. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got into that and what inspired you?
Yeah, it was really kind of a consequence of momentum, I suppose. I have a kitty cat. I'm trying to come here and join them. But so I had done a lot of work beforehand here in my home state of West Virginia, real early on, and then due to some personal life things, I went down to Florida and was working on starting an entirely different career down there, but happened to meet up with some folks who are Bernie supporters, and more importantly, they were really issue heavy. Like they were really active on things that Bernie stood for, and they had a lot of great resources, and they were making some things happen. So I joined them in the days leading up to the Iowa primary for some action down in West Palm Beach, and found out, hey, there's these folks taking a 28-hour bus ride from Florida to Iowa, Kansas, for the last 3 days before the caucus. And I said, no, I won't do that. I gotta stay down. I gotta get this stuff done. And lo and behold, a few days beforehand, I decided I couldn't pass it up, and ended up hopping on a bus with 50 other people going from Florida to Iowa, and we worked around the clock in the days preceding the caucus. And as we all know, we got some pretty good results. And from there, found out that the same thing was possible to South Carolina. When I went to South Carolina, things really picked up. All by chance, really. When we were on the way there, it was the night that Bernie was kicking butt in New Hampshire. And we were checking the Bernie website to see if there was any events happening in South Carolina. Turned out there wasn't, and I thought that was unbelievable, because we were heading to some pretty progressive parts of South Carolina, in Charleston, South Carolina. So I just made a March event for my phone and really worked hard to organize for it while I was out doing door knocking. It really went hand in hand. I was out doing canvassing anyway, so why not tell folks about a fantastic march we were having? And that really ended up picking up some steam, and a bunch of news networks, and this right place, right time with the right amount of hard work. And then from there, it kind of projected me forward to 6 or 7 more states.
That is amazing. Did you make it to Philly in July?
I made it on day 2, and life struck a little bit, and so my stay was pretty short, but it was quite the scene. And I truly think, honestly, getting to be at home and watch it from all the different perspectives was probably a little more telling, less exciting, but more telling.
Yeah, I did 6 days there, and it I have PTSD pretty much. It was, it was bad. And
a lot of ups and downs.
What's that?
A lot of ups and downs, for sure.
Yes. Given that, why did you choose to run as a Democrat after what they did to us?
Well, I think that we really run the risk, and believe me, it is very intriguing and inviting to do so. But I think we run a lot of risk when we use such general words as us and they, what they did to us compared to us. They is a group of corporate folks with corporate interests. What they did is serve their interests. What we haven't done for decades is serve our own interests. So all of a sudden being surprised that they served their interests when they've been doing it for decades, when in reality, I think the truth is we just had a candidate that actually connected to us to make us aware, and that's what should be surprising and acknowledged about it, not the fact that look what they did. Because I don't think this is the first time that this has occurred, or that similar behavior has occurred as far as aligning their interests. And us, I think, got a real good reality check of we haven't been doing our job. And so this was my response to it, to do my job.
So what was the defining factor in deciding to actually fill out that paperwork and decide you were going to run?
Good question, because I had really gained so much insight as far as what politics means about issues through the organizing I got to do. I got to meet real active folks who organize behind the issues and got things done. And so that made me realize that we could have goals that we could be pushing against and having to resist and to protest. But truth be told, we can skip a lot of those steps if we just have the right people wielding this resource, which is the voting power to represent people. I grew up in poverty myself. My brother adopted me when I was 16. He was 23. I was the first person in my family to go to college. I know what it's like to struggle. And it is what it is. I think I took a long way in responding to struggle and empowering those experiences.
What is something that you would like to see as far as voting, the actual process of voting happen? Do you want to see open primaries? Do you want to see paper ballots?
It's interesting. I mean, I think that in many cases we get so stuck on one solution. And I think we have to own our responsibility in understanding the complexity of some of the tools we have at our disposal. The idea of a system isn't some one and alone bad or good thing. It's whatever we make it. So when it comes to voting, having one answer to create a better presence, accountability, and security in it, I think is a really multifaceted process. And we got to take a lot of things into consideration, the evolution of technology. So yes, I think the big ballots are absolutely necessary. Automatic registration. The primaries are interesting because in 2016, it happened. There definitely needs to be freedom of voter mobility. It's kind of the name of the game. Folks talk about the scare tactics. Well, what if people vote all in one race that they wouldn't normally, just to throw it off? And and maybe there's room there for solutions. I'm not quite sure, but to completely restrict people from voting in one area or another, party-wise, I think is what it is.
So I got conflicting information online. Is West Virginia open or closed?
On my side of the game, it's open.
Okay, so that's very advantageous for you.
The independents do need to make sure that they ask for a party-affiliated ballot. So they do need to make sure that they want a ballot to vote for a party candidate. If not, they run the risk of just getting a ballot of only unaffiliated candidates.
Okay. Something you posted about multiple times recently is the West Virginia school, the teacher protests. Can you tell us why you're passionate about that?
Well, so I'll start with a little bit about a post I read today, and it was somebody I respect a lot talking about too often politicians are about talking about common sense, and that's a fairly empty statement. And while how it's used in a lot of cases is left pretty empty, when you see where these folks are coming from, it has common sense written all over it. They're educating young children. They're the means for a population, or a whole part of our population, to prevail, to grow. And to think that their pay is so incredibly stagnant, to think that they're not basically, to think in fact, because of the rising healthcare costs for these professionals, these teachers, that they're receiving pay cuts over time, truly. And it's grotesquely illogical. It's so disconnected from a reality and that common sense of if these people hold such a vital position, and we have to respond accordingly. And, it's always made out into this monster or hero kind of thing, and it's just not that. There's, because folks say, well, how are we going to raise the pay for these teachers or create a fund for their health care? Well, look at a state like Alaska, who has handled their resource strategy, balanced it with the social needs incredibly well, and they've maintained their industry in that state. It's possible, and it doesn't mean we're punishing anyone. It just means we're having reasonable and logical reactions to all the conditions and balancing them out in our state. If you're taking out resources in our state for a huge profit with hopefully our workforce, then we're going to ask you for some tax so that we can educate our children and keep our teachers healthy and capable of doing that. So I think it stands for something that needs to be perpetuated in a lot of our approaches with politics and our goals. It's just what does make sense, and this is what is common sense. And it's not a hoorah kind of thing. Common sense is the type of goals that you're pointing out and paying teachers and making sure that our source of education is strong. Common sense.
Right. Do you actually have, I digress a little, do you have a cell phone on nearby you? Okay, that could be why people are hearing feedback. I'm not sure.
Did we solve that?
What's that?
So did we solve it?
I think it does actually sound better. No, still there. So I apologize, guys. I apologize. So speaking of monetary means, do you support raising the minimum wage? I see that in West Virginia it's $8.75, which I'm in Pennsylvania. It's still $7.25 here, which is abhorrent. So at least you're a little higher. But do you support raising that?
I do, and how I approach it is preferably more from an education standpoint, because the concept itself has, like everything, and I'll sound pretty thematic about this stuff. There's been a divide created around it. You either think it's good or bad. A wage represents so much. It represents about the kind of system we're in. It represents how we get by as individuals. It can't just be good or bad. And in fact, it's much better understood as a math problem. In the state of West Virginia, it's break even at zero at the cost of living. You have to work 54 hours at the current minimum wage, poverty wage. And that's including the 14 hours time and a half once you go past 40. So when you think about that, if we're 54 hours a week to break even, well, I think it's around 18% of our households in the state are led by women only. So women, at the pay disparities that they're already receiving in our state, and then you add on to that, they're a single mother. The average cost of household for a single year for one child is $13,000. Look at the deficit these folks are having to start in to try to achieve anything. It's not realistic. So yeah, we need to base a wage off of a livable standard, mathematical standard.
Do you support a federal job guarantee?
Well, the first reaction is yes, in concept for sure. And there's no but necessarily coming after that at all. It's just, I think with such a vast concept, there is so many positive ripple effects that can come from it. There's so much design efforts and vital points of interest as far as making sure it doesn't become ill-used, something of a slush fund. I mean, if we're going to allocate what I would imagine be billions to trillions of dollars in real effective infrastructure plans and things like that, I just hope that it does be as transparent as humanly possible and designed to have the greatest effect possible, because there's a huge alignment of resources, and for good reason. So let's make the most of it as we can.
Are you familiar with what MMT is?
Modern monetary theory.
Right. So that being said, our federal taxes don't fund spending. So we definitely have the means to do all of that right now. It's something that other countries are already implementing. And also, you know, something that's would be incredible is it would, you know, lessen homelessness. It would lower unemployment rates, things like that. So that seems to be the most feasible option at curing these things. You do have poverty on your platform. What would you like to see happen in that regard?
Really quickly, as far as the NMC goes, I have no hesitation to say we can definitely, for sure, use the structure of finance in this country, in this world. You know, I shouldn't get that far just with my knowledge, but in this country, to solve a lot of our problems. They're man-made problems. They can be man-solved problems. What I don't excuse is for this idea to inflate the richness that already exists amongst the 1% and those even close to 1%. I don't think just because we have this concept of people and money that we should empower the powerful more than the hard guy, but to use it for poverty and to raise the general condition is bad. Things I would like to see done for poverty are contextual. Because poverty is contextual. It's not just a label, or it shouldn't just be a label be thrown around and prescribed everywhere. For instance, in West Virginia, we have a large population, I think it's around 1/3, who do not have broadband access. In my book, 100%, if you do not have access to the internet, you're living in poverty. Access to nutritious food is nationwide, a huge issue, which is absolutely bizarre. It's one of those things that we need to find ways to say out loud, because in a country that throws away crap tons of food, and we have 100 children is absolutely absurd, but we have 1 out of every 4 kids being a 4th child here in West Virginia, and if their skin color is darker than mine, probably 1 out of every 2 children. And that's absurd. If you don't have access to food, you're in poverty. So we look at the basic needs that qualify you for a pretty general healthy life, and if you don't have access to that poverty, and we can solve that. Again, these issues are man-made, they can be man-solved.
This is actually a really interesting question from Chris Pratt. This is interesting. He said, how do we feel about the Equifax hacks, leaving 148 million Americans information on the black market? Certainly daunting.
It's an incredible display of the lack of justice that exists when we have corporate without jail free cards. I mean, though, in its own context, how is this any different than something like bailing out the bank, in the sense of saying, well, you know, again, obviously definable negligent behavior, but you're so big, we depend on you so much that, oh well. And that's exhausting, especially when on our end, let's think about this. I just dealt with this with my bank recently. After they've made 3 or 4 mistakes which required me to travel into the office, I said, I think I deserve something. I think my account should see if and I didn't think this was going to occur, but I wanted to make the point then. I think I deserve $15 credit in my account. And of course, they weren't buying it whatsoever, but I made the point that, well, if I fail on my end and I overdraw, you do not hesitate to put that fee on me. And I just think it's incredible how much cost the general population incurs. And there's just not even an inkling of creation of the idea that there should be some retribution for this, or reciprocation, whatever great word to say. We deserve something for your incredible mistake at our cost. So, yeah, really good question, and I mean, it's one of those things that I think we're best to find source ways, get it at the source as far as combating this kind of injustice compared to trying to chase down every Equifax. And I hate how sacrificial that sounds for tackling it, called it should have already been tackled. But again, it's about trying to get these things at the source and realizing the nature of the situation, so we're not reaching in 50 directions, but trying to even the bad causes.
Right on. You, of course, litmus test for everyone, Medicare for all. So can you talk about your views on healthcare and the way you have it on your platform? Why is it important to you?
Well, it's really relevant to that poverty question. And again, this is where I think using something as bland as common sense is not very problematic. So the fact that I can say to anyone watching this, raise your hand if you're mortal, and everyone's hand's going up. It's a fact. These bodies age, every single one of them. So to think that the access to response to that bodily change, to that decline in health, is prioritized based on income is unacceptable. I mean, there's tons of adjectives, including disgusting. So I take a pretty aggressive approach to the fact that it needs to be a public option, because again, mortality is a public option to say. I mean, it's not. Some stuff is not difficult. And this is a great issue to express that on, because you'll commonly hear, well, the healthcare system, it's so huge, it's so complex, it can't be changed. Who made the healthcare system? Whose behaviors and responses to it facilitate it daily? Ours, human beings. We created the damn thing. We can make it serve who we want. Right now, that choice is being made, and those being left out, and no surprise, like in most cases, are those impoverished. And then you start throwing in statistics like minority and skin color darker than mine, and it just goes up and up. It's another divide, and it's a divide on a very unacceptable level.
Absolutely. I've worked in healthcare for almost 10 years. So I see the horror stories. And I'm going through one myself right now, even with insurance, being close to medical debt. So it's definitely something we need. And it's interesting that even a lot of Republicans are beginning to open up to Medicare for all, which is kind of amazing. Along the lines of healthcare, you do support legalization of marijuana. Can you touch on why you support that?
Well, because of how much sense.
I mean, why not?
But touch on all of the reasons that I support it, but I'll try and knock out a few ballpark in different realms of necessity. And I'll start with some of the least talked about. It's a huge targeting mechanism. It's one of the few drugs that carries a scent to it, and so my wife's self getting pulled over can easily be excused for it. And this is, in bigger cities' case, this is not necessarily a West Virginia scenario. I'm sure it is to some degree, but it's used for targeting. There's a lot of search and seizures done because of the scent of marijuana, and of course, if there's profiling going on, racial profiling, then African Americans who targeted for the use of the drug disproportionately than other folks. And that perpetuates another, whole bunch of problems with our judicial system, felonies on record, tons of things, parent to family relations, etc. All the things that come with giving these people terrible records because they're used to a claim. Onward, the benefit to a real economy. And this is something where I think there's some hesitation in me to just leave it as I support legalization. I support legalization done correctly, which is allocating access to production to the industry on a real person's level. Right now, where the banks cannot get loans for these initiatives, you really have to do it people with incredibly large bankrolls already, and the regular entrepreneur can be really left out of it depending on their state's legislation going into legalization. Ohio, for instance, shot theirs down once prior before theirs passed, because by second they found out that the restriction to the amount of growers was something like 7. That's absurd. That's again putting that corporate finger on it. So definitely support it because of the benefits to the economy, but again, I think it needs to be a very transparent piece of legislation to make sure that that's all about economy. Too often, big profits and taxes refer to a good economy when the people are not seeing that benefit. And I want to make sure that that benefit is felt. all the way through to kind of stratosphere within medical reasons, and not just a simple response to already bad health, because it can solve, and well, it can help respond to so many health issues. But more importantly, it can do a lot culturally to prevent many health issues. And that's important. We've been trying to deny people the opportunity to experiment with things like marijuana for a long, long time, and it's been incredibly unsuccessful. So understanding that people are going to reach for things, as our usage of alcohol does, and unfortunately opioid use, it is ignorant, not only that insultingly, but the act of ignoring that there's a plant that interacts with our body. If you don't know this, Google the cannabinoid receptor system. There are parts of our brains that are built in ways that make them perfect for breaking down cannabinoids. That's powerful stuff right there. So, again, I won't take up our entire time, but it's a powerful. And it also really goes along in so many discrete directions. Like, it's a great issue actually to fight campaign finance, fight for campaign finance reform, for instance. But it's not the only reason it's not legal is because of huge contributions from big pharma into campaign pockets, into politician pockets. So this is a really powerful issue when applied in all the different directions that we have.
Absolutely. And we have a mutual friend who I've had on the show, Rusty. Hi, Rusty, if you're watching, I love you. But he knows the benefits of medical cannabis. You know, he's an example of someone who, you know, whose life was saved. So just a shout out to Rusty if he's watching. But yeah, speaking of Citizens United, how do you feel about how that just kind of affects every other thing that people are running on? What made you decide not to take any corporate donations?
It's not difficult, and thankfully so. There is a beauty sometimes when we truly achieve to understand the nature of our problems, because sometimes finding solutions for them, it doesn't take you just to zero, it can take you well above into the positive, not down to the negative. So when we handle the influences in our elections, we can solve who knows how many problems. And so to be part of that solution is an obvious part of running with a candidate for me. And again, there's two ways right now to understand our government. It's serving us or not serving us. And if I'm taking some money from folks who aren't us, which would be big corporations, then who am I going to serve? This is really simple. And that's why I think that it's really incorrect sometimes for us to pitchfork, fire, and fury, and flames for big corporate interests, because what they're doing is perfectly sensible, very logical. The ability for them to do it is the problem, and that's the structural problem, is we have total control over fixing. You got to understand this big mechanism that creates all of this, you know, the different problems and the destruction that we see. It's a mechanism that we have the ability to touch and tap into. The campaign finance reform is like the control center of that mechanism. It controls the intent behind it. It can shift that intent dramatically. And then we'll have a different functioning tool when we function right.
Yeah, no doubt. You also talk about the environment. That's kind of a big, broad topic. What are some of the things you're passionate about in that realm there of environment?
Well, and again, I am striving to understand the nature of any of the issues that I am discussing. As you said, I mean, that's a pretty vast one. And I would not want to discredit any of our very learned biologists and other professionals out there by acting like I understand the nature of them. And I think that's important, very important to understand right there. You got to break down the structure of how we understand how the candidates and elected officials anyway. If I'm asked about the environment, I should have open doors to refer to, you know, I'm in a city that has a campus, a big university, Marshall University. have a good answer, I need to be able to connect to those folks on a real level. But in a simple direction, again, what about the environment that is sustaining life? Air, water, food. And not for just humans, but for other populations, because truly we are one and as a part of the ecosystem. It's proven in so many cases, the domino effect, as far as one population is taken down, is estimated, the ripple effect is huge. So making sure that food, water, and air is as clean and pure as you can understand it. Furthermore, though, and throw a little twist in there, is to understand human nature and that we are a part of nature too. And I think that just kind of helps us understand our existence more logically. We get caught a lot of times just because we don't like the negatives of human nature, pushing back completely against it. You know, cities, which again, this is, there's roots of my very environmentally just pushing that way self to have a hard time saying this, but cities are a natural thing. They're everywhere. It is obviously a very natural human response. Yet they come with a lot of negatives, so then we say, well, cities, that's not nature. It is nature. Let's just explain it and what humans do. So let's perfect it. Let's make it much more connective and hopefully so to the rest of the planet. I think that logic will help us have real expectations of what healthy society is.
Yeah, no doubt. We have some questions. Let's see. It looks like more statements than anything. What is something else that you're passionate about that you would like to change should you get elected? Well, let me put it this way. What are the main differences between you and the person that's in there now?
Well, I'll kind of, there's huge, well, I'm in a 3-seat district, so it's not just one person, and 2 of those members are leaving, so the timing is quite impactful. But I'll start with what I'm interested in, because I can tell you it's so far from what I've heard, it's pretty unique, but not that special. When again, it just makes pretty good sense. So we can talk about things like the gun violence, the opioid epidemic, suicides, general depression, general unhealthiness. Or we could look at the tools that we have that are supposed to prevent them. And one major tool is education. You get out 12 years of an education system at the local needs, out of high school. And we have not been taught how to handle our emotions. And this might be easily scoffed at, let this, philosophy, this and that. No. This is a response to the physical reality of being a human being. We have a lot on our plate, obviously. This isn't me by choice saying, oh, we need to beef up this equation. Look at the statistics. The results are coming in that we as human beings aren't being taught very well how to handle ourselves. So I think we need professionals in our schools. And this is where marijuana legalization and proper taxation of the extraction industry is very vital, because we need to be able to pay for a professional in schools. We do need to embrace, not just recognize and acknowledge, but embrace the human condition. Because again, it's not something that just takes us to the zero sum of, oh, maybe less, for sure, less behavioral illnesses in our society, such as suicide, gun addiction. But the beauty that comes with self-confident, happy individuals, that's a whole different level. And so we need to understand education not as just creating a workforce, but creating a real human force, a conscious force. That's very possible. There's a lot of hours. Our brains are fantastically incredible. They soak up information at just bizarre levels. If those children are made aware of things like mindfulness, we've seen very positive results. And if we start doing that by the mega millions, wow, do we have positive things to look forward to, along with food production to add into that, and public personal finance. These things are incredibly important to the health and the prosperity of individuals. We're in a capitalist system that does depend on your workability, and how you manage your money. You create a lot of mobility, flexibility, and freedom for your existence, which reflects your health and affects so many things about your lifestyle. So we need to embrace a real a real reaction to our condition in our education system. And I think the ripple effect, again, comes into you put your finger on one thing and you find out that it touches 100 other issues.
Right on. You also, since you do have open primaries, are you speaking with a lot of Trump voters?
Yeah. One thing that I love about Senator Sanders is his perspective on how to approach voters who vote different from ourselves. These folks are not our enemies. These folks are not just label applicable or bundled into one group as being negative thing. They're all individuals that have their own reasons. To dismiss them otherwise is just lazy and ignorant on my or any other person's part. So it's information, and that's what it breaks down to. I can get on my big course or any other progressive or whoever you are and you feel good about it. You can get on your big course because of where you are, or you can be damn thankful for the information that came your way that allows you to make your moves and learning curve. And to look at other people that aren't where you are and to just stop and to tear them down is major sacrifice of potential. I mean, you're turning your back on your next ally. And that in itself shows how good we do have it in some way. The fact that we could just look at whole millions of people and think it's too good to invite them into progress. We obviously haven't felt it as bad as we could, or else we wouldn't be so confident to make those kind of decisions. So I love being any kind of voter because, again, I have a really big rule, first of all, that helps me keep out of arguments. I don't tell people what to do. I believe in education. I believe in the issues and the connectivity, the polarization that comes with reaching out to our human condition. One big rule about in my campaign and for participation is you're not allowed to tell people to go to Dakota. Think about what that accomplishes. Vote for me, and then someone goes and does it. You cast your vote, so you're like, oh, you do? No, that's terribly empty. That perpetuates the same garbage kind of interaction between ourselves and the electorate system.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you made some good points. I've said a million times, there's a difference between Trump voters and Trump supporters. There are people who, I'm actually doing an article with a couple guys from West Virginia who were losing their jobs, and there's only one candidate who went to talk to them. It was Trump. He said he would help save their jobs. Well, desperate times. What are you going to do? So I think that's amazing that progressives have become more open to, speaking with them. And a lot of them are going more progressive. If you wanted to leave a final thought with our viewers, just something they could take away to encourage them to go to your website or to hopefully donate a few dollars, or what would you leave them with?
Well, some kind of strategic based things. So my Facebook, my campaign page, Dakota Nelson, House District 16, has a very healthy following for my race. So it has around 5,000 people, and most other candidates have a couple of hundred or so. That is a big force for me. And so the little things, like going to my page and actually just simply taking the time to hit invite indiscriminately across the board to all of your friends. And understanding why, because maybe they can't vote for me, but again, this is about broad support. It's about sharing messages and ideals. There's so much that come with this campaign platform as a resource. So help me build that resource by spreading that page. And then my website. Pretty simple and to the point of what I want to accomplish, which is for me to get in a house. So DakotaInAHouse.com is my website. You can see pictures where I've got to meet with Senator Sanders and talk about my campaign. General stances, and I say general because they are general, and really take on these issues, of course, takes on the strategic organization and things, so you can get a sense of what I stand for, and hopefully from hearing me talk, you can get a much better sense and feel comfortable sharing, and as you said, you're going to contribute in that because what we're doing with how we do outreach is incredibly efficient. I'm not big the word deserving, but if a campaign deserves money based on their usage of it, I mean, direct voter contact is where it's at. We're not putting a bunch of money into plastic to represent us in our ideal. We're fueling people through very, very specific phone banking and using our voter data to really strategic about the doors we knock on, when we do it and how we do it in the literature. Our phone banking is survey based. We get tons of data about people, and we get to learn how to support the issues they care about. So when you contribute to my campaign, you make it possible for us to print the issue-specific literature. When you go talk to Ms. Jones, who's struggling with arthritis and really cares about marijuana legalization, but because she's 60, would normally get approached by a candidate about marijuana legalization because, oh, unfortunately, she wouldn't be likely to support it. With the efficient work we're doing with contribution dollars, we'll know if she does or not, and we can empower and support her.
Absolutely. It looks like your primary is May 8th.
Yes.
And your registration due date is 4/17.
Registration due date. What do you mean by that?
That you have to register to vote by 4/17.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you guys have a little bit over a week, so definitely get on that. So thank you so much.
Here in our district, too, it's the first time, and it's on the campus, so we expect major positive results.
Right. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight, Dakota. We wish you the best of luck, and thank you for joining us. I'll definitely keep tabs on you now that we're friends on Facebook. So thank you so much for fighting for us and the people of West Virginia. Thank you guys for watching. Let me see who else I have this week. I have a candidate named Jason Noble on Wednesday for Michigan Senate. And on Friday, Johnny Axam, who's becoming a regular. He's a candidate in Minnesota. So thank you so much. You're getting some love in the comments, so definitely check those out.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Quick and possible main question here. Will this be a link that I can share after the fact?
What's that?
Will this conversation be in link form that I can share after the fact?
Yes, you betcha. And I can IM it to you as well.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it, and I hope everyone has a really great night.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Bye-bye.